SPMP サイドストーリーくんねちぷ。
Previous overview. Kanasiapu asked Susa, who had visited Palakodan, to bring her sister back. Susa granted her request, but Kanasiapu felt a bit uneasy about his response. After Susa left, I was scolded by my mother. My mother thought I was with my sister, so she was surprised to see me with my grandmother. I don't know what's going to happen right now, so don't be selfish, and I'm sure Tokapchup will be looking for you by now. My mother said and scolded me. So when I told my mom that Yakakima was going to my sister, I was surprised because she was very angry and said, "That's another matter." After that, as I listened to my mother's story, I felt guilty that I had made everyone worry, and I was so worried about my sister that I started to cry. I was ashamed of myself for acting out of curiosity. My mother patted my head when I was crying and forgave me, but I felt like I had done something irreparable, and I had nothing but regret. I want to see my sister. The place where my sister is now is far away, and I can't go there alone. There is a way to ask Tanu to take me, but last time my legs were numb from the cold water and I couldn't move for a while. Above all, there is no way that my mother will allow me to go, and it will cause everyone to worry again. Yakakima is heading to where my sister is, but that's not the way to solve the problem. I went to sleep that night with a gloomy feeling, and when I woke up the next morning, the sky was cloudy, as if to express my feelings, and when I left the room, my mother had gone to her usual routine. My grandmother was preparing the meal, and when my mother came back, the three of us sat around the meal. At that time, my mother told me not to go far today because it was going to rain. On that day, it started to rain before noon and continued throughout the day. I've never felt depressed about rain before. Everyone in Kodan also spent time in their respective homes, waiting for the rain to pass. The next morning, the rain had stopped, and the weather was clear with a view of the mountains in the distance. But my feelings are still dark. I was walking around in the Kodan, hoping for some good news. The scenery inside Kodan is the same as usual. The children are playing as if nothing had happened, and a dog is playing at my feet and looking up at me. It's my feelings that are different. For the first time, I found that when I was in a dark mood, even the scenery felt dark. When I saw the dog playing at my feet, and I squatted down and stroked the dog's head, I felt a little soothed. In the end, the day passed without incident, and the next day in the afternoon the long-awaited news came, but they had seen the sand mountain and turned back before it, so they had no information about my sister. They told us to wait a little longer because the others had gone looking for them again, and they left. At this time, I had a little wonder. My mother was supposed to know where my sister was, but she didn't tell the people who came to tell her, she just listened to them silently, and it was the same with my grandmother. When I asked my mother about it after they left, she replied, "I don't know what will happen yet, so for now I'll leave it to Yukakima's parents and I'll go directly to pick up Tokubchuk when the time comes." I was a little relieved to know that my mother had an idea, but at this time, I felt that my mother had feelings that were different from words. That's because I heard a lonely sound from my mother. After listening to my mother's story, I felt that it would take a while for my sister to come back, but I believed that she would definitely come back. Until this time. Today's story ends. The continuation of the story will be updated tomorrow. Please look forward to. If you like, please subscribe to the channel. See you again.